Hi, fourth graders. It's Mrs. Orrock. I'm excited to be with you today and teaching you lesson 3 of module 4. Today we're going to be learning about identifying, drawing, and defining perpendicular lines. Okay, I have a little buddy with me for just a little bit. Can you say hello? This is Lulu.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. Say hi. Can you wave hi? She's waving.
Hi.
Hi. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Yeah, she thinks she's getting some candy wrappers in here. But I just wanted to share with you that you are going to need a pencil. I'm not dropping my pencil today. You're going to need a straight edge. Your straight edge. Or did it fall down? You're going to need some sort of straight edge. Remember, use a ruler or you can use any book that has a flat edge, okay? That you're going to need to use to draw some lines today, okay? I'm going to go put her in another room because she's not doing so well in this lesson. Don't forget that you are also going to need your math workbook with you today. That is just a given. But here's some vocabulary words that you're going to need. Now, I'm going to be over here in the corner showing you, because I know that some of us are kinesthetic learners. Basically what that means is that we learn by doing, we learn by acting, we learn by playing, okay? By moving the body. So parallel lines. That's the first vocabulary word you're going to need. Parallel lines. So I want you to take your hands and go like this. Parallel lines. Parallel lines. All right. Now think about that motion. Parallel lines. And think about in the room that you're in, what is parallel? What are some examples of parallel lines? I'm going to show you something that I see that are parallel. This board right here, these are parallel lines. So it kind of looks like a fence. So if you see a fence, maybe in your backyard, maybe you see it on your floor if you have wood flooring, you're going to see sets of parallel lines. Okay, so that's an example. Now, the next vocabulary words you're going to need to know today. It's a really important one. Perpendicular. Say it with me. Perpendicular. So perpendicular is where you take one of those parallel line segments, truly, not lines because they go on forever, but line segments, and you're going to take it and move it down like this. And now this is not parallel, it's perpendicular because two line segments are meeting together and they're touching, they're intersecting, okay? And then it has to make, I'm gonna move my arm so you can see, it has to make a 90-degree angle. There has to be at least one 90-degree angle in a perpendicular line. Okay, you're going to see here that there are a lot of 90-degree angles over here. These are all perpendicular lines or line segments. Now, intersecting lines, they have the arrows, right? They keep going on forever and forever. So if you take your hands, if I go like this, I'm going to see that they're closed. These are what I like to think about lines. They're the line segments, or excuse me, these are my line segments, but my lines are going to go on forever. So if they intersect like perpendicular lines do, okay, except there's got to be one set of 91 that's 90 degrees for it to be a perpendicular, but these are intersecting. And if we keep moving them around and eventually it goes like this, and I can see that there's at least one set, actually 4 sets of 90-degree angles here, okay? But here it's not. It's still intersecting, but not quite perpendicular. You're going to see a little bit more about that in the lesson. I'm going to show you a quick video that's going to explain this.
All right, this is grade 4, module 4, lesson 3, and we're going to be learning all about perpendicular lines. And basically, a pair of perpendicular lines are two lines that when they intersect, boom, they intersect and form a 90-degree angle. And in this case, they're forming 4 90-degree angles. So boom, 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 and boom. So they formed 4 90-degree angles, but you don't have to have lines that, or in this case, they're line segments, aren't they? So I can make them lines now. So there's lines. You don't have to have lines or line segments that create 4 90-degree angles like right here. You could just have a pair of lines, boom, like that. That makes just a single 90-degree angle, and there, that makes them perpendicular. So perpendicular are two lines that form one or more 90-degree angles. In this case, it forms 1, and in this case, it forms more. Now, the way you identify, there's shorthand because, a lot of a lot of people say that math is kind of like learning a language. And so the way we write down, let's say I want to identify these two segments, and I'll call this A, B, and C. All right, so we've got two line segments. Boy, I keep calling them lines. We've got two line segments. We've got AB and we've got BC. In this case, I'm talking about this one over here. And when we want to use a symbol to identify that these two line segments are perpendicular to each other, we use an upside down T. It looks like an upside down T. It's also supposed to look like two lines that are perpendicular. And you always do it like this. Even though this looks like an L, you're not going to draw an L up here. This is always the symbol. So for example, this one over here, let's call this D, E, F, and G. Now in this case, we've got lines, not line segments. So in this case, we've got line, and I'll write it way up here, line DE. So I'm going to draw that with the arrows. And then I've got line FG. So I'm going to put FG, and then I'm going to draw the thing with the arrows up at the top. And now to show that these two lines are perpendicular, meaning they form 90-degree angles, I'm going to draw that perpendicular symbol. It's that upside down T. So that's what perpendicular line is. Two lines or line segments that form one or more 90-degree angles. And this is the symbol that you use to show that these two things are perpendicular. Now let's do some examples. In this one, they're just asking us to identify some examples of perpendicular lines or line segments in real life. And so there's a lot of them. I see the T right here. Oops, except I don't want to do it in black. I want to do it in blue. So there, I can see another perpendicular line right here. I can see another perpendicular line here. So teachers, there's a lot of perpendicular, boy, and I'm making them all look like T's. They don't have to look like T's. How about this? Boom, like that, boom. All right. The one thing I thought was interesting about this problem, teachers and parents, if we have parents watching, is where do you see a perpendicular line here? Well, you don't really, because it's drawn to perspective. So students may have a little bit of a hard time with this. They're going to have to identify something that is perpendicular in real life, but not perpendicular in the picture itself. So give kids some grace and cut them some slack on this one.
All right, my friends. So what we are going to be working on today is lesson 3, problem set. What you're going to need to grab is your workbook, so quickly go grab that. The first problem that we're going to be working on is problem number 1, where it says, on each object, trace at least one pair of lines that appear to be perpendicular. So I'm going to look here, I think. Oh, yep, these are perpendicular. This is perpendicular. And these are all parallel, very interesting, right? But if I look at the corner, the vertex of the paper, yep, that's perpendicular as well. My lines will not be perfect because I'm just drawing freehand. Now, right here, we have a brick wall, and there are a ton of perpendicular line pairs, just tons. So you could find lots and lots of there, lots and lots in there. We have lots and lots of shapes. All right, my friends, look down here, and you're going to identify more pairs of perpendicular lines or more right angles, right? Now, the football, the hint is look at the laces. This one right here, I'm not seeing a lot of right angles or that 90-degree angle. I see one here though, and I see one here. So that's your clue for that one. Now, as you keep going down the screen, you're going to look at number 2 once you are finished. Go ahead and pause the video, and once you're done, go to number 2. How do you know if two lines are perpendicular? Remember in the video, Duane explained that perpendicular lines are when lines intersect to make a 90-degree angle. So if it looks like an L, so take your finger and your thumb, and if you make the L, like the letter L with your fingers, that's going to be perpendicular, making that 90 degrees. So answer number 2. Number 3. In the square and triangular grids below, use the given segments in each grid to draw a segment that is perpendicular using a straight edge. All right, so here we go. Grab your pencil and you're going to show me how these can be perpendicular. You are going to make them perpendicular. So you have to draw an extra line segment. And with your pencil, you're going to draw this straight down. I'm looking, this doesn't actually look completely or perfectly like a right angle, so I'm gonna restart. I'm gonna draw a little bit more down. There we go, that looks more like a right angle. You can draw that right angle sign if you want, that little square in the corner. I'm gonna draw this one like a T because this, I wanna create 4 right angles, just like that. Okay, you don't have to do that with all of them. And this one, just draw straight up. Wow, that was awful. And I even have a line to guide me. Well, here we go. There's a set of perpendicular lines. And this one I can just draw straight down or just make it like that L shape. Either works. I apologize for the annoying ring. Just reminders in my computer. All right, so what you're gonna do, pause this video and complete doing that section. And when you're done, press play. All right, so we are at number 4, and here I'm going to show you how to draw the lines and the pairs of line segments. Now, in the first set of directions, I'm going to have you cross out that first sentence. It says, you ready? It says, use the right angle template you created in class to determine which of the following figures have a right angle. Cross that out. Silly, silly. We didn't do that because we aren't in our regular classroom, so we didn't actually do that. We skipped that part. But you're going to start at the second sentence. Mark each right angle with a small square. For each right angle you find, name the corresponding pair. That means the matching pair. That's that word, matching. Pair of perpendicular sides. Problem 4A has been started for you. I'm going to use pink to show you. Here we have 4A. So they started that and showed us that line segment AB is perpendicular to line segment BD. And that's true. Remember Duane in his video, he explained that this upside down T means perpendicular to. That's just a symbol that we use. Now let's go all the way across. So we're going to start where we ended with BD. We're going to start with BD. Line segment BD is perpendicular to line segment DC. And we need to mark it with a square, showing it's a right angle, 90 degrees. So we're going to write down line segment BD. The line across is perpendicular to line segment DC. Haha, there's one. Okay, so far we have 2. Let's start where we ended. Line segment DC, you can already tell it's perpendicular, is perpendicular to AC. So we have DC. I apologize, so hard to write with my trackpad, so it's not going to look super pretty, but yours should look much better. It's perpendicular to line segment AC. I'm gonna make sure that looks like an upside down T and not an arrow. All right, one more, because if we have 4 right angles, there's another one. There should be 4 perpendicular pairs. Now we have AC is perpendicular to AB. We don't have that written down yet, so let's write it down. Line segment AC is perpendicular to line segment AB. So let's double check. Do we have 4 pairs of perpendicular line segments? And do we have 4 right angles? Yes, we do. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We did it. I'm going to go ahead and clear my screen, but I do want you to pause and catch up if you have not done so already. Now, you're going to do that with all the shapes. Some of these shapes are trying to trick you. For example, this one right here, I am not seeing any right angles. You know what? You could argue, and I'm just looking and I'm having to really turn my head. You could argue that this one is. So flip your book around and see if that is a right angle. D is a circle, and my friends, if you don't know this already, a circle has no angles. It is an angleless shape, so that one will not have any right angles. But let's take a look at C together really quick, and then you can do the rest on your own. So C has what I'm seeing. This one is not a right angle, so that angle doesn't work. That's not a right angle, but that's a right angle. Okay. Now, let's see what we got here. We have line segment EF. Let's get that down with the line on top showing it's a line segment. If it had arrows at the ends, it would be a line. Is perpendicular to EG. line segment EG. And since I only have one right angle right here, then I'm only going to have one pair of perpendicular line segments, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and clear what I have, pause if you need to catch up. Remember, finish this whole page or as far as you can go. If it gets a little tricky, you can ask a parent for help. Now, number 5, I love, love, love number 5 on the problem set. This one makes me so happy because in our class, we used to do brain puzzles every day. And this is like a brain puzzle. It says, mark each right angle on the following figure with a small square. No, a right angle does not have to be inside the figure. Ooh, tricky. It could be outside of the figure. How many pairs of perpendicular sides does this figure have? So you're going to try to figure out this little brain puzzle here. Now, it does not tell you to draw the line segments and to put them in, label them as letters. It just says to draw some right angles. So here I see a right angle. Here I see a right angle. So 2 so far, and these are outside of the shape, outside of the figure. Well, I'm going to look inside now. Ooh, there's one, there's one. You're going to keep doing this all the way down your shape. See how many right angles you can find. It could be inside like this or outside like that. You're going to write your answer in the white space right here. Go ahead and do that on your own. When you're finished, go to number 6. True or false, shapes that have at least one right angle also have at least one pair of perpendicular sides. Explain your thinking. So remember, the question is, if they have one right angle, they must also have one pair of perpendicular sides. We've talked about this in our lesson a few times. So go back and rewind it if you have forgotten already. One thing I did want to show you is on IXL up here. Once you go into your grade learning and then grade 4 and into math, you're going to scroll all the way down after today's lesson and after you finish the problem set. You're going to go all the way down to W, 2-dimensional figures, and you're going to click on where it says parallel, perpendicular, and intersecting lines. That is your assignment after you're done with the lesson today and with the problem set. When you get here, remember we've included in the instructions to click on this little sentence that says learn with an example. There's a little arrow. You're going to just click on that and it's going to show you how to do it. So it says, are these lines parallel? Guess what, friends? Remember, parallel is when lines do not cross. They never, ever, ever, ever cross like railroad tracks, okay? Now, parallel means that. So these, it looks like these are perpendicular, what we are learning about. So are they parallel? No, trick question. Parallel lines stay the same distance apart. They will never intersect. That means they'll never come together. Look at this figure. These lines are not parallel. They intersect at one point. Okay, so that is your set of instructions. Then back to practice. Now you're going to go through the IXL W5 lesson. Are these lines perpendicular? No, perpendicular must cross. Okay, and submit. Awesome. Your goal is to get a SMART score of 85 or higher. Are these lines parallel? No, they cross. Wonderful. Are these lines intersecting? Remember, intersecting means coming together and crossing. Yes, they are intersecting. And keep going. All right, there's your example for that. And then what I do want you to also do is go to this really fun video on parallel and perpendicular lines from Flowcabulary. Once you log in, you need to make sure that your name won't be up here. It'll say Orok or Mitchell with some numbers, and you need to make sure that's logged in so you can watch the whole thing. Don't forget, or else they'll only let you watch about 30 seconds of it. Good job, my friends. You did so great. Don't forget to continue on learning and continue on working hard in math. I'm hoping that you're enjoying these lessons as much as I am, party time. And I hope you're learning lots. Make sure that you do the problem set, IXL, exit ticket, vocabulary video, super important stuff so you remember and keep it logged in your brain. And I will see you next time. Bye. Have a great day.